Hey there, Regina Andler here with part 3 of Pieces of Me. Pieces of Me is a little preview into the Finding Me program, which is a 10-week program designed to help you design and move into your best life. Today, we're going to talk about yourself. Now, what do I mean by yourself? Everything that you've experienced in your life to this exact point in time has created that person that you are today, yourself. Now, from a positive psychology standpoint, there are a few different versions of self. Now, the first one is your ideal self. Now, your ideal self is that version of yourself that you think you believe that you are in the future. Your ideal self is who you aspire to be in the future. Maybe that is somebody who is always giving back, or maybe you're living in your dream house on your dream property, spending your summers on your dream yacht, or whatever your ideal self looks like to you. Then there's your best self. Who are you when you're being at your personal best? Think about what happens when maybe an emergency comes up. How do you respond? Usually, your best self appears automatically when it's needed. Now, your best self, it could be out every day. I don't know. It's different for everybody. Your best self is really about who you are when you are at your personal best, when you're getting those wins that you're looking for. Maybe it's something at work and you just nailed that presentation that you wanted to give to your superiors, or whatever it is. You are your best self. Then there's your authentic self. This is my favorite. I always live as my authentic self. This is who you are authentically. No judgment. You're not putting on any kind of a mask or anything to make people like you, or saying the right things because you think you should be saying something certain. You're just being you. You're being authentically you. Now, I've talked to a lot of people in the past about authentic selves, and I've talked to some who are young, say 20s and 30s, and some who are older, 60s and 70s. And I have to tell you that as you age, you automatically move into your authentic self. Have you ever noticed that older people, maybe it's your parents, maybe it's your grandparents, they just say what they think, they say how they feel, they act how they want to act, no judgment, no restrictions, they're just them. That is your authentic self, being authentically you. Now, the next one is your possible self. And what is a possible self? The possible self is that person that you think about in your head, the idea of who you could be. Maybe you aren't quite sure who you want to be when you grow up, and what that looks like. That is your possible self. You're working on different ideas of who you want to be. What do you want to look like when you grow up? What does that self look like to you? And then lastly, there's your ought self. Now, what is your ought self? Your ought self is that self that is who you think you should be. Your ought self is not where you want to be living. Your ought self is that person who shows up with the mask on and acts and speaks and behaves in a certain way because that's the way you think you should be. It's not authentically you. It's definitely not your best self. And I'm sure it's not your ideal self as well. That ought self is where we live most of our lives. Think about when you go to work or when you go out with friends. Say you're going out with a group of friends, a diverse group of friends. Maybe it's a bunch of college buddies. And you go out and, Sandy is, an executive for this big corporation now, and Julie is working her own business and very successful at it, and Mary is, a very successful doctor, and you are working, maybe, say you're a technical engineer, and you've been working in a corporate world, so you're not working for yourself, it's not your own business, you're working for somebody, and you're watching all of these friends around you who, to you view them as more successful than you. That is your ought self coming out saying, wow, maybe I should be more successful, maybe I should have done this, maybe I should have done that to be more like them. Your ought self is where you start, because that is what's telling you where you are right now. When you figure out all those things that you keep saying, I should be, there is no should be's. There is what is. Where are you now? And that is your current self. So yourself as you are right here and now. And then there is your ideal self, where you want to be in the future. Your best self, who you are when you're at your best. Then your authentic self, who you really are when you're really, really being you. Who are you when you're being you, unabashedly you? And then there's those possible selves. You kind of move out of your ought self into the possible selves. Okay, well, I should do this, I should do that. Well, get out of those shoulds. Move into the, here's some ideas for my possible selves. Here's where I want to go. And then you look at that and you say, well, who am I authentically when I'm authentically me? Who am I when I am at my best? What do I think, what do I view is my ideal self? In our program, what we do is we dive deep down to this, because finding me is really all about discovering who that authentic, best, ideal self of you is. And then creating everything you need around it to become that person. It's all about living your best life. When you dig really deep down and you uncover who you are right now at the present, you begin to understand how everything in your life you've created up to now, and you get to create what comes next. So there's your little sneak preview for today. If you're interested in more information in the 10-week Finding Me program, I will drop the link right in the comments below. Feel free to direct message me or shoot me an email at regina@autumnascent.com. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you have regarding the program or anything else for that matter. So that's what I have for today, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye for now.